or the other way around, however you want to phrase it.
You know, the thing that hurt the most too on Sunday, I was thinking about it, was all the former Panthers around the league like having a great time. But it's like that SpongeBob meme where like, he's watching them out the window or whatever, and they're like running down the street. Had a good day. Baker Mayfield had a good day.
Like when you was little and everybody was outside playing
you
outside.
Feel grounded.
And you grounded.
Like, oh, man. I don't want to be outside too. Dante Jackson had an interception and a long return. Who else got off on Sunday? It was just a lot.
Sling and Sammy played well.
Sam Darnold. He started off like
played really good.
14 for 14 or something nuts. Like
the Vikings might mess around and they gonna make the playoffs.
It's crazy. And then I'm sitting there watching us like, what is this? What is this? Like, I've never felt like that during a Panther. Well, no, that's not true. Not like that. That felt like just a butt whooping, like from the beginning, from the very start.
Before we go deep into this, like if you just start thinking about it, like this is kind of like a toxic relationship with the Panthers and quarterbacks, because for a while you start thinking that it's the other person, right? Like, oh, it was Sam Darnold. No, it wasn't me. It was Sam. It was Baker. No, it wasn't me. It was Baker. And now it's Bryce. And at some point you got to start to look in the mirror like, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
and
it's like that movie. What's that movie called? It's Not You, It's Me.
Yeah.
Name of the movie.
Yeah.
It's insane. And Baker won. Sam won. Like, I mean, they're winning in these other places. Like, and it made me go back and think, like, what if we were still in a world where Sam Darnold was still here and they didn't do some of this stuff? We'd have been better off.
Can I interject something really quick? Because I don't want to get I want to get people fired up early on this Tuesday morning.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why we mad.
Let's do this.
This isn't my tell you why I'm mad, but I'm gonna get some other people mad here. So
hey,
just think about the days of Matt Rule, right? I know we said, last year we didn't really want to talk about it anymore, but just think about it.
Which, by the way, he's undefeated.
He won too.
Right now.
He won on Saturday.
And he is rolling right now with a stud quarterback, Dylan Raiola. But just think about that. What if David Tepper said, nah, I'm not going to fire you, 6 games into the season. I'm just going to give you through the end of that 22 season, see what happens. Typically, he turns it around in year 3. Maybe it was year 4 in the NFL. I don't know. We can all make fun of him all the live long day about the Jay-Z quote. But if you look back at recent memory, he's the only full-time coach that's had success between him. I mean, it's win one game for Canales. I get it. But Frank Reich was a total disaster. Steve Wilkes obviously had success in his interim stint, but that was with the Matt Rule team.
I thought about Steve long and hard.
And you go back to that year where Wilkes kind of turned it around. Yes, part of that was because they kind of switched their philosophy offensively, but that was the team that Matt Rule had. In that first month or so of the season, they were struggling because they had a difficult first half of the schedule. So, I don't know. I'm just saying. Matt Rule may not have been all that bad.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Baker and Sam were here.
Woulda got shot, and so did shoulda. Okay. This is where we are. We're 0-1.
Yeah.
0-1.
Like,
everyone needs to relax. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. In 2018,
preach
you spoke about Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans went 0-4. Went 0-4. 0 wins and 4. They was probably getting dog cussed. They was probably getting slapped in the face. When they probably go out to eat the Applebee's and they say, "No, y'all can't come in here." 0-4. That's a bad start, right? We've experienced something like that. They ended up making the playoffs.
Yep.
Okay.
Did they lose by 37 in any of those 4?
No, but they've had some struggle-like games, and when we'll get to the nitty-gritty as far as what we saw on Sunday. But I will say this: the NFL is a different league, and it's a special league for this very reason. All it takes is one game. And
I do agree with that.
And I will say this: as a whole, this is the first time that a lot of these guys have played together for the very first time. I mean, talk about the secondary alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Those
secondary
guys came off a waiver wire,
right. So I
8 days
mean,
ago.
it takes time to understand how people speak, how people move, how people thrive. That just doesn't happen overnight. And the way these preseason games are going for a lot of these teams, not just us, they hold their starters out throughout the preseason. So they're not getting the meaningful reps that's needed to come together and gel, right?
Yeah.
And then you just talk about, just in the nature of what our training camp schedule was like. This is the first time that they've had training camp in Charlotte. That's completely different for the guys that have been on this roster for the last 3 years, where you've been going to Wofford, being in the dorm, being able to build that chemistry in a different light, in a different way. Because I mean, I remember from my training camp days, training camp was special for the very reason of, hey, let's play horse in the locker room until 10 p.m. or 10:30 at night, right after meetings. Let's just get a couple games in right quick. And you have at least like 15 guys in the locker room just goofing off before they go to bed, right? So stuff like that, the team bonding, the chemistry, all that stuff matters, and it does support a winning recipe. Right now, they're still having to find the recipe. I'm not sitting here, everyone with their pitch and forks and fire flames and all that stuff. Look, we have to be more mature. We have to have a little bit more like common sense. And I know common sense isn't common, but for us to really expect like them to go out there and just have everything dialed in on game one, like as a fan, you do. I'll say this: the fans deserve wins. Point blank.
Okay.
You're spending your money, you're spending your time, you're watching podcasts throughout the off season, you're watching ESPN, and you're getting your hopes up and all that. You deserve wins. But the reality is that it takes time. It has to come together the right way. And I'm still hopeful. I would have loved to see a different product on Sunday. Would have loved to see, some fight on defense. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of guys out there fighting. I mean, I look at Shaq Thompson. I look at Ashawn Robinson. These guys are fighting, but it has to come together as a team. And so there's some bright spots. There's a lot of, gloomy spots. And those guys in that locker room, they have to go to the lab. They have to fix it.
I love everything you just said. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be the most positivity that's going to be in this episode.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad. I'm going to tell you why we mad, son.
I am hot. This is 6 years of this. 6 years. I understand the whole thing about we might not get a win right out the gate and stuff.
But hold on. Before you say this, when we decided to get a new head coach, what did we say in the offseason? We told you that when we get a new head coach, that's an automatic reset.
But
it's
not
an
like
automatic.
This, dude.
It's
not like this.
It's an automatic.
Nothing.
I agree
right.
with you, brother.
Nothing looked right. And I'm sitting there. I'm questioning it because I'm like, is this why Bryce didn't play in the preseason? Like, is this why? Like, because they knew, like, deep down that he's not like quite there yet, and they just didn't want to show anything. Like, those are the thoughts that are creeping in my mind. I'm not saying that's what's going on.
That's called Satan getting in your brain.
We're battered fans. We're
Satan.
Battered fans right now. Like we are willing to accept any excuse to try to understand what just happened on Sunday. Because look, the first pass the man throws is the interception. He's overthrowing everything all of a sudden, and it was crazy because he had a clean pocket. He pretty much had a clean pocket most of the day. He seemed a little rattled. He seemed kind of rushing stuff. And when he would be on the move, that's when he was overthrown. The one that I guess he was trying to throw to Thielen was a good 5-6 yards, like down the way. Like, look, he was throwing to the safety instead of to Thielen or to a spot. That's what it really looked like. Look, he was throwing to a spot. And then the other one, the first one, he just missed. And I'm just sitting there like, how long? And I wasn't going to go on Bryce Young today. Actually, that's not even my time why you're mad, but I do have to bring it up. What's the leash on how long do you give the number one overall pick before you start questioning should he have been the number one overall pick? Because With Cam Newton, we kind of knew immediately that, okay, this dude's a unicorn. He was supposed to be the #1 pick. Like, we didn't have to, we lost, but we knew, like, we saw it. What's the game
Arizona
that we
game
saw
was
Bryce
special
Young?
with him.
What's the,
I was like, good Lord.
He's got what? He's started
Lord.
18 starts now? 18, I guess this would be, or 17, something like that. Has there been a game during the Bryce Young era where he played so well, you were like, that's why we drafted him? Green Bay. That's the one everyone keeps coming back to. It's the one he threw for 300 yards. We lost the game, but that's the one game he kind of played well, and that was late in the year. So, and then what happened after that? We went scoreless in the next game, and we haven't scored a touchdown in 9
Schuyler,
quarters.
Schuyler, it's time.
Come on, man. Come on. I've been sitting there waiting for today.
Schuyler, unleash havoc. Whatever you have to say, I feel like it's going to be good for this discussion right now.
You teed me up perfectly for this, Des. So
let's go.
This is my tell you why I'm mad. I just think that there are so many people, whether it's Panthers fans, writers, analysts outside of Charlotte, that they just jump at the very first chance they get to drag Bryce Young or to drag the Panthers organization, because that's just been the narrative over the last 5 or 6 years. And when you have somebody like David Tepper, love him, hate him, somewhere in between, he is a talking point for this organization. So anytime that the Panthers look miserable, that's a chance for everybody to pile on top, because they get to point and laugh at Tepper's team and all this other stuff. Folks, those that are calling for Bryce Young to be benched, or the Panthers are already on the clock for next year.
Yeah.
Chill the hell out.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Game. Here's my point. I understand it didn't happen, but if Bryce had thrown for 350 and 4 touchdowns on Sunday, everyone would be anointing him as the face of this franchise. He's the clear guy. But I would still come back here on this show on this Tuesday morning and say, guys, it's one game. Don't get overexcited. It's one game. This is a long season. So I think there's way too many people overreacting to this. And there's a lot that goes into what went wrong on Sunday. It was not just on Bryce, and Stu can get into that here in a second. But I think people need to calm down about this whole Bryce Young thing. I'm not saying he's going to end up panning out or he's going to end up being the answer. But one game into this freaking season, I get it was horrible.
I'm not using just Sunday, though. That's the thing. I'm using all of last year, too.
You can't use last year.
I know, but last year and all that stuff.
Listen,
that was because we thought he was going to actually be coached up and actually look different. He looked worse. How do you
Desmond,
look
what's your
worse?
middle name?
But this is one game under this new staff.
Jerome.
He had 0 reps in the preseason, essentially outside of one series. What he went through last year is so chaotic compared to what everybody else has come into. He has to regain that confidence. He may say he's confident in the press conference, or he may look confident.
He ain't in the pocket. No,
he has to gain that confidence on game day. We have not seen that yet. And here's a bold take right here. I don't know how you guys are going to react to this. I really think the Panthers fumbled how they handled his situation last year, because I don't know that he should have started week 1. But here's the really bold take. If I was Dave Canales, I would have come into this situation and said, you know what? We're going to wipe our hands clean. We're going to start this slate completely blank. Andy Dalton, you're starting the first 3 games.
Yep. I would. Yep.
And
because if we're really going to make that a mulligan last year, it didn't exist. You're a rookie this year. Like, you should sit
this is a rookie year. You're going to learn this system, and we're going to wait until we feel 1,000% sure that you're confident going into the game, that we're going to put you in a situation. We're going to give our offensive line time to gel, time to figure each other out, time for the receivers to kind of emerge as who's going to be the guy, find time for the running backs, give Andy Dalton this team for 3 weeks. You put Bryce Young in there week 1 and it goes as bad as it did Sunday. It's hard to say, hey, kid, go take a seat. We'll bring you back maybe, week 8 or week 9.
Yeah, that's